Good morning, guys. Happy Tuesday. So, we're here on Tuesday doing these things. I heard kaplack plack. I wonder what that was. Was that me? I don't know. We're working on this psychokinesis. We are still working on psychokinesis, so let's go on ahead and switch over to the monitor and we'll take a look at it. All right. Now, we had already done some weight and things like that on this picture. Right around here, I'm still seeing some things. But we did some weight on the line work to make the line work have some gravity and things like that. So we're going to go on ahead, and there's a couple of things I want to work on. Good morning, Brent. Good to see you right off the bat. I'm going to go on ahead and thicken up this upper eyelash. We'll scale down the bottom one a little. There we go. Maybe that's too much. There we go. All right. Give him some more eyebrows. Now we're actually doing some more tactical strikes here on these so that we can kind of make the lines a little bit more varied in various locations. That's a technical term, varied in various locations. So, okay. Had some interesting issues getting kind of started today. Having some discussions with my kid's teacher. Random ports. Yeah. So I'm just going through here now, and I'm just kind of, while I can, sort of before I switch these out. Once I switch this to come on. Oh, random, yes, networking. I was reading an interesting thing that said that people who were extroverts tended to well, I guess what they were saying was people who are extroverts tend to move up in business more than those who are introverts. However, being aggressive didn't seem to positively affect you in business. It was a study that they had done over a number of students during school, and it's a 15-20 year study, something like a 20-year study. So they've been following the same group of students throughout school, and they did a personality test on them in school. And now that they're out of school and into the workforce, they're trying to determine correlation with things. And they did not find that being particularly aggressive, being angry or just an aggressive personality, got you any further in the business world. They also didn't find that being an extrovert got you any further in the business world, but they did find that extroverts who were friendly and helpful tended to get better jobs. I find that interesting. I also find kind of an interesting thing that personalities are now tested when you go in to get a job. I usually test well on personality tests, but I know a number of people who are supremely qualified to do a job who don't test well on these tests. And I feel bad because I'm like, well, that all that seems to do is just reinforce the idea that if you are that you know, those people don't have. I'm just going to get rid of that. I didn't even know that was there. Those people can't get a job, and that's not. I don't know if that's a precedent that I think is interesting to explore. Right? I mean, on the one hand, you kind of have to work with people in a business environment. So I kind of understand needing that, but on the other hand, should people be penalized for having a lousy personality? I don't know. I mean, I'm not making a judgment call on that one. I'm not 100% sure. I have worked with some real jerks. And I have to admit, it slowed down business, it slowed down work, it made everything much more difficult. They were difficult to get the work done. But then again, I'm sure I have had moments where I was the one who was the jerk, you know? Kind of makes you wonder then. You're like, wow, well, crap, you know, what if you're having a bad day or just a bad year? I mean, you know, that's an interesting thing to ponder. Some people really don't handle certain stressors very well. You can catch them at the wrong time, and it would throw the test completely off. I've also known some people who weren't the world's best personalities, but they were really lovely individuals. Right? Everybody's failing those tests this year. It's 2020. Oh, man. This is not a good year for personality tests. I always wonder these things. So, something to think about. I mean, as a science fiction writer, these are all things that I think about all the time. It's like watching Orville and watching Majority Rule. It's the episode that has the upvote downvote tab that you wear everywhere. You know, it does make you kind of wonder. In a way, it's kind of where we are in a lot of instances. And it does kind of make you wonder. You know? I love that episode. It's a great episode. Black Mirror did one very similar to that. Talking about the dangers of social networking and social value. I think about that too. I mean, here I am on the internet every morning. You know, I misspeak somewhere along the line. Heck, I could even, on video here, say something in an ironic fashion or in in a weird way. And good morning, Donald. It's good to see you. But I could say something in an ironic way, and it could be taken out of context. There's all kinds of weird stuff. It's fascinating to me. It's somewhat terrifying. You know? I mean, there's a certain amount of scariness to this. Something to think about. Like I said, as a person who writes science fiction, definitely something that I'm interested in. As a person who really likes to study psychology and things like that, I also am fascinated. So, all kinds of stuff here. Donald, we were talking about, I had read an article which had said that people who were extroverted, had extroverted tendencies, tended to move more in business. So they'd move up and become managers, and then, and stuff like that, and they were more likely to do that. It wasn't absolute. I had one of my favorite managers ever was very introverted, but it's an interesting discussion topic, which was suppose that you were the kind of person to be introverted or something at work. My thought is, what happens when those people then end up having to deal with, personality tests and things like that? How is that going to work for them? Right? I mean, these are the things I wonder about. If they're having to take a personality test to get the job done, how does that work for them? And if we end up in a world where personality tests are required, that's going to be interesting. Right? It is definitely a fascinating thought process. Will, in the 2020s and the 2030s, will it be required to take a personality test? I know that some jobs already require a personality test. That's an interesting thought. And will they not hire you because you come out as an introvert? Or will they unfairly bias you? Will we have to figure out that now it's not fair to bias people because they are introverted? I'd hate to do that. Or unfairly bias people who are extroverted. I mean, I'd go in there and they'd say, well, you're an extrovert, so clearly, you can be a manager. Well, okay, maybe, but I might not be qualified to be a manager, right? So, I mean, there's stuff to think about on this. It's fascinating to me. So, I mean, they're all things to think about. Interesting thought processes. Like I said, as someone who is a science fiction writer, these things all intrigue me. I'm making sure that everything is sealed up and locked up so that whenever I move this to another area, all of the holes are plugged because I'm going to want to fill around it. And so in doing so, I want to make sure there are no leaks anywhere in this picture so that I don't have to worry about that, right? Because leaks sink ships. Leaks are going to make this a difficult proposition. Right? Donald's saying that personality tests can be affected by emotions and mood swings and environment or setting. This is a true thing. I hate going to doctors. And every time I go to the doctor, my blood pressure's up. And it's all because I hate going to doctors. And it has nothing to do with my blood pressure actually being up. So, they look at me and I'm rotund. And so you can't so I have to take my blood pressure over the week and give them an average. Because you can't just take my blood pressure when I walk into the doctor's office and say, gosh, your blood pressure's high. My blood pressure's high because it's a doctor's office. But it's the same thing, right? You go in, suppose you had a meeting for a job and the day before your cat died. That's enough to make you depressed and sad and upset. And you're not going to test well, What if your mom or dad died? Even months afterwards, that'll affect your personality. It affected mine. Okay, we're going to duplicate this layer right here, and I'm going to turn the copy off because I like having that one here, and then we're going to take this guy and I'm going to rasterize it. Right. By rasterizing it, I've taken out all of the control points in this layer. So now all of my control things are out. But with this now, I can do a few important things. Yeah, it's always more accurate to get several BP readings. But that's definitely a truism. I've got all of this. You think about going in and getting a test, and it's going to be. It's going to be very. I don't know. That just seems fascinating to me. That's not what I wanted to do. That's great until you have to get that job. Then it won't work as well, and that's the problem, right? That's kind of what we're talking about here. Right? Brent's saying he always makes himself look like a psycho so that intentionally screws the test up. And though I absolutely agree, the problem, of course, well, and that's absolutely true too. You can throw any of those guys, but you can throw any test. Realistically speaking, you can throw any test you want. I could throw all kinds of tests. Smart enough people can throw all the tests, right? Yep. Sort of fits what we're talking about here. Doesn't it? Oh, man. Okay. I love this effect, but I want it to be more dramatic. So I'm going to do this. do. I'll take this and cut it down. Here, cut it down. We'll go here, cut it down, and then we'll go here. Because we can't lose his gravikinesis part right there. There we go. And I think that's pretty close to what we're after here. Alright? I feel like I kind of still want a little more black under here. Like there. Right. And then that way we can go like this. And like this. Use the old comic book tricks to get these things in there. Makes it for a fascinating little picture. I just want to make sure that we've got nothing touching the edges of this picture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off this background, right? And now all we've got is this. I'm going to merge these guys together. Okay? Now with that, I'm going to turn the background back on. And we're going to do a few things that are going to work really well for our benefit here. We're going to take and cut everything unilaterally. And that will make that all look like it's part of that. We'll do the same thing right here. Right? We'll cut everything unilaterally. And I don't actually want everything to touch his text up here. So we'll cut everything unilaterally there too. So you get a white line right through the middle, right? And that'll connect everything in to make this all one picture, but it won't be the same kind of thing. Okay, now that we've done that, we're very, 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 very close to the end of this project. The things that I wanted to do next were fill that, and that, and that, and that. Right? Those are some of the key things that we want to make sure we've done. We're going to go in here with a pen, which is very large at this point in time, and do this. Alright. Do the same thing right over here. And then we're going to flip colors and do this. And this, putting highlights in the eye always makes the eye look like it's alive, right? So we're going to then switch here and give him teeth and a tongue. Like that. Now he's like, ah! What are you doing to me? Boom! Right? Now that we've done all of this and we've gotten all this in, there's a couple of things that I want to fix. Like right through here, we've got black on the back and black on the front, and right here we've got black on the back and black on the front. We've got to fix those so that they don't do that. So what we're going to do is just draw the line like that. Right? And then let this be open. And that pops that out a little like this. this. And that just makes it so that it's not part of the same thing and you don't lose that. We're going to do the same thing right here. This way we won't lose that as well. We don't want to lose this delineating line here. There we go, just like that. Right? And that keeps that from blending in. Now the next thing we want to do is looking at everything on this piece. The next couple of things I want to do is I really do like the idea of him having black hair, so we're going to give him black hair. But you can't just give people black hair because their hair, if their hair is truly black, it reflects. So we'll give some shine along here. This. We're just following the contour of the existing artwork. We're going to screw it up. That's what we're going to do. Which we will fix because it's a wonderful thing here. Like this. Right? And that just gives it a little bit of something to pop it out of place there so that it's not just stuck. The next question we really have now is what color is the balance of this suit? If I look at this picture completely, we have a lot of white going to black, right? So I really kind of think I want his suit in some way to be black, or at least dark, right? So what we're going to do here is balance it, right? We've got, I'm going to kind of go in here and I'm just going to give him this delineation. And it's like this. I'm going to go like this. Right? And we're going to come in here like this and connect into here. And we're going to come across like that. Right? That just gives a lot of this suit a dark black effect. I feel like this can go across like this, kind of come in like across like this a little. We can get the seam in. That. And it's giving us a little bit of, but this suit now is very black, right? This is a black suit. Bring me my black suit so that I may use my telepathic abilities on people. There we go. His best black suit. He used it every time he wanted to do telepathy on people. Here we go. Bring this around like that and like that. We're going to go in here and fix that line, but that shouldn't be a big deal. Okay. So all we've really done here is just give us some darkness to this side, right? We have white, or we have black hair and white clothes, versus no hair or white and black clothes, right? I mean, this gives a good dichotomy between the two. They work well together. I'll go back through and we'll just do the same thing we did before and trim this down, right? That way it's not in the way of the artwork here, and I'm actually seeing some of this artwork underneath it, so I'm going to trim in just a little. There we go, because I can see some of the corner artwork is in there. And that looks like that piece, right? And we're doing good here. A very dramatic piece. This allows for this guy to look like he's just popping the guy there who's got a gun, using his telepathic powers and things like that. There we go. That piece I think is done. I'll go on ahead and use white and apparently not do that. Use white and a brush. Right. There we go. It's a very small piece. Fits in on one page, so it should be pretty quick and easy for him to deal with. Something about the gun. I can't see it very well, right? I mean, from a distance here, I should be able to see that gun really well, and I can't. Something about the gun. Okay, let's go in there. Let's get to work on this one. Right here. I feel like the gun should have a grip. For one, because I want it to be seen. The only things that are being seen in this picture are dramatically black. There we go. There we go, like that. And like this, we're just going to go on ahead and put in some reflection on the gun barrel here, which isn't actually a gun barrel on the slide, technically. On the slide barrel, there we go. Now we have a new word. I have invented a new word. Okay. There. Now you can see it. Now it's obvious what's going on. You can see the gun flying through the air. This picture works really well. Alrighty. Now I'm going to hit Control. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit Save. Let's just save it out like it is. Let's go ahead and close. And we will discuss the next project. Our next project, I think I want to go back to, I want to give a thought process for the next draw this pose in your own style. We have one of those, and I want to take a quick break from drawing on clientele stuff. and see what we can do with this. So we came up with, there was another one of the draw this picture in your own style things. So let me look it up, because it'll take me a second here. It was a few days ago, and I unfortunately found a whole bunch of Star Trek stuff in the meantime, which is only unfortunate in that I have missed. It will be many pages back when I find this picture, because I collect Star Trek pictures. So there is that. I collect Star Trek pictures a lot. And so we've got to go back quite a few days to find the draw this pose in your own style prompt, which should be back here. Not very far back, I hope. Goodness, I really hope. Wow. I took a lot of pictures yesterday. Ah, there we go. Open with Clip Studio Paint. All right. So, this is the pose we're working on today. Let's go on ahead and just pull that, because we don't need to worry about the rest of it. Now, I kind of want to try something new, so new. Let's go ahead and do our normal 11 by 17 at 300 dpi, which is a print resolution, right? We're going to paste. Now we've got our little doodly wop here, right? And look at this pose. It's an interesting pose. I don't know. I mean, if nothing else, I'm looking at this, but what if we were to change the angle, right? I mean, like, not just take this pose, but change the angle. I guess that would kind of ruin the effect of what we're trying to do here. But, because I think most of this is supposed to be about drawing this exact pose. But let's analyze first this picture. New raster layer. I'm going to take a red pen to it. Right? We have an action line which moves like this, which is cool. It does mean that her hips are here, and then we've got another action line which is moving like that down her arms, which I find fascinating. So the question is, which action line am I after here? And I think I kind of like the idea of making an S curve out of this, right? The reason why we like this is there's an S involved. S's are always very, very attractive, right? And we look at her shoulders and that, and we can see her backbone right there. It's very, very clear. This is a great picture. All of her weight is on this foot, but this foot's standing, so we've got kind of a balance going that way. It's kind of neat. I like this picture. This is a cool picture. We've got a lot of balance and tension across the body here. We've got a ton of balance and tension across this body. So let's take a look, and we've analyzed kind of where this body is, right? So now if we're over here and we start working on this, let's give ourselves another layer. We've got the S curve, which is going to probably be like that, right? And then we've got the tension line, which goes like that. That's a fascinating picture, isn't it now? The tension line seems to cross a lot lower in this picture than I thought. That's all right. Right? Says Guy, thinking he's got this wrong. He might have this wrong. Okay, let's start here. First, you have the S curve. Goes out to there. I got the tension line, which goes to here, and here's the weight going that way. And talk about the hips, which cross through that, like that. And then we're going to put her backbone in like this, right? And we want to put those shoulders in a way that's offsettingly pleasing to this line right here. All right, there we go. Dang it, stop taking my blue away. Right. So the S curve is here. That's our tension line. We've got the backbone, we've got the shoulders. Now we have the basics, right? Let's add another layer. Now let's talk about the sketch. Okay, and I have her hands here. Right, and we've got one arm, it's kind of going this way to the shoulders. And one arm that follows that tension line almost perfectly. Then her body is tilted. So we're going to put in that square for the back, and the square for the hips, and remember that those are tilted too. She's put all of her weight here, so the weight is coming up this line. We want this to run out another S curve like that. You can see that S curve there, right? S curve, go. So all of her weight's here. What a fun pose. And then this leg's out like that, right? So we're just going to run that leg out like that. And then she's looking back at us, which I find fascinating as well. Right? Make sure it's mounted on the spinal cord, because it really doesn't look right whenever you don't put that on the spinal cord like it's supposed to be. Okay? So there we go with that. Her head has to be on the spinal cord. It is. Good. And we run this around like this. And her head, her eyes aren't in alignment because she's looking back over like this. And her eyes turn, and so does her head. So that helps a lot. Right? We put in the rest of the body pieces right here. This is twisted. So it's like this. And then we can see we've got the tension across the body now. This X marks the spot, sort of tension in the body that we're putting in here. And we're just going to then piece this all together. I didn't mean to right click, but that's alright. It didn't change any tools, so we're okay. Alright. Roughed in the body. Now that we've roughed in the body, we're going to move up one layer. I do lots of layers. Likes me my layers. If you're going to have a program that can onion skin readily, you might as well use it to your advantage. Now, what I'm going to do now is take away the drawing that we did of her and take away its layer. Well, the reason we're doing that is because we want to be able to see this drawing exactly as it is. And if it has to be in my style, I don't want to mimic her, because that's what I'm going to end up doing if I'm doing it in my style, or if I have her up there on this picture. So looking at this, what I see is an idle singer. That's what I'm seeing on this one. So, let's go on ahead and go in here with a darker blue, right? We'll go on ahead and we'll put in the drawing and her boots, right? We'll put like a pencil skirt on her. Right, and I'm just putting in all of this equipment that will be on her. Like, we're going to have her little microphone piece of equipment there. Right. And then I'm actually going to turn her head forward because I feel like she'd be looking at the crowd. Right, so instead of having her back looking over her shoulder, she has her microphone. Right. Now that I've sort of built that in, I'm going to check and double check here. Okay, I've got a hip bone here that's defined in that one. I also feel like in this picture I didn't pull enough up here. Right, now looking up here, I should be pulling more, right? So now I'm going to double check the anatomy. You know what? She could look back at us. I think that's great. I think actually it's like she's looking back and going, I did a good job, didn't I? I mean, this was awesome, right? Right? But let's take a look at our anatomy here, right? Her backbone goes this way. I want her backbone to go this way too. So she needs to be doing this. Right? It's hard to see what's going on with the rest of the anatomy here because of her hair. But right back here, I've got an arm going that way. This is her other shoulder. So we need to make sure that we've got that in there. Man, this is a hard pose when you get up here to this part of her body. Which of course is the whole point, right? I mean, the whole point here is to push ourselves on these poses. So here I go, kind of going through here, and what I'm doing is I'm just cleaning this up until we get into the right angle for this. Right? But her back is here, so that her neck will have to be here. And this is tough, because she's got one hand kind of doing this, and then this hand is up, and her fingers are like this. A great pose. This is a really, really fun pose. So, okay. This finger's going out like that. You want to make sure that stays that way. Going this way. We're getting close here. So we want to make sure this shoulder rolls over to this side. Just like that. Okay, now let's also check this strap here. I don't think is going the right direction, because I feel like if I look at her strap here, we're coming across like this, and if this were to be the same kind of outfit, it would be right here, right? So if there was for example, a bra strap, it'd be like this, and then it'd be across like here, right? Because I would feel like that would be here. So we want it to be like that. So we'll do that, coming around like this. Make sure that there's these tensioner muscles that are on the outsides of our hips, right out here, and that needs to really reflect here, because all of her weight really is being supported by this muscle group right here. This is the one that's doing all the real work in this. So I want to make sure that that's deflected out over here, because you can see how it's pulling out all along this side of her leg right there. All of these muscles, they're like a cantilever bridge at this point in time. It's pulling across these muscle groups to keep everything going this way. And you can see these kind of lines of stress across the body as her body shifts over to one side. So I want to make this drawing reflect that, right? I really want to reflect the strength in this muscle group right here. And here you thought that you weren't going to get any anatomy work, but no. Art is all about understanding anatomy. And you can actually see on this side, this same muscle group is completely relaxed. And she even has her glutes coming out just kind of in a, like, all of this muscle group here is totally relaxed. We weren't initially designed to stand on two legs. So two leg work is actually a complete restructuring of our muscle groups to be two-legged. So that's why we get this massive gluteus maximus muscle set on the back of our butt. We're now talking about butts. That's why we get a huge set of muscles back there, is to pull and strengthen up the body, because this upper body torso piece is pretty heavy. You had to mute your laptop. It does look like a volleyball pole, which may be what she's doing. She might have been, burk. That's possibly what she's doing, as a volleyball pose. But either way, it's still a fascinating thing to discover and talk about and things like that. It's always good. So let's talk a little bit about her face. Her face is turned this way, with the cross going across like this. There we go. And you can mute your laptop. That's totally cool, man. Mute your laptop. You do you, boo. Alright. Her ear is right here. And we can talk about her hair in a minute. Right? We put all the tension then in this muscle group right here. Make sure that that calf is strong. This calf is holding up a lot of things, and this calf is not. Right? There we go. So we're going to do one more layer, and I'm going to refine down. Right? So now I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to make it smaller. Let's get much more definition. Ha 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 ha. I think I'm funny. Okay. Now we can get closer to this and start talking about things like getting in here with the pencil and working on the definition, right? I have my new word for the day. I feel like this is still kind of small. I feel like I'm still scritching a lot. Alright, there we go. Much better. Right? So we're coming in here, and all I'm doing is just refining out the drawing, giving a little bit more to her face, giving her things like an ear. It's useful. Everybody should be able to hear things, at least in theory, so there's always that. Fixing in her eyes. And we're just going to bring this in like this. There we go. Just like that. Okay, I'm going to give her hair, which starts out like from the scalp like this. Maybe she did do volleyball. Right. Maybe she's turning her head in the process of actually turning her head, at which time I can bring her hair in like this, like it's starting to kind of fling out a little as she turns and whips her head around, right? Come in under here. Right? Again, let's show that strength in this muscle group right here. That group is holding her whole body up. So we want to make sure we've got that strength showing in there. There we go. Across the calf. Human body always amazes me. I don't think that'll ever end. My fascination with the human body is like a lot of people's fascination with the, well, I guess a lot of people have different fascinations about the human body, but for me, I'm fascinated with the way that all of this muscle group works. Everything works so well on this, and it's just really cool. I say that even though this morning I threw my back out. So, I'm kind of just sitting here suffering from my back. But I know the reason that my back is so difficult to deal with is because of all these muscle groups. Alright, so we're coming back up here. So all we're doing here is I'm just putting in this shirt back. It's a low cut shirt back, but not that low cut. Triceps, biceps, all this wonderful stuff right along here. And then the forearm group right through there. I've got too much tricep, bicep stuff and not enough forearm. There we go. All right. Right. There we go. So my little pop star here, she clearly also played volleyball. That's just what we're going to say. What we're doing here is just placing these things in right where they need to be. You can get some perspective on this. Now looking at this perspective, what I'm noticing is proportions, right? At this point in time, we've got proportion problems. Some serious proportion problems. This happens a lot when manga artists try to draw real people. We get our proportions screwed up because sadly, manga is not representative of real people. Which we knew that. All of us kind of know that. But the good news is this is a relatively easy fix. And we can just do that with a couple of small things. First of all, her head's way too large. Second of all, now it's slid. Make sure it's in line with the rest of her body. There we go. Now we'll take a look at the whole thing. Much better. Not perfect by any stretch. We're still going to have to do some work. But it's much, much, much better. Alrighty. We'll go through here and we'll fix this. And then we'll just fix a little bit of this, right? Bring that out a little bit more. There we go, just like that. Bring this around. Fluff in the front of her hair here. Bring that she's still looking over her bicep and tricep and trapezius right here. Yeah, I know. We've got to fix the eyebrows. We're going to have to get in there at some point in time. She's like, oh no, am I done? We'll fix those eyebrows when we get there. We'll burn that bridge. Well, you know what? I can burn that bridge now. Yeah, there we go. What we can do is really bring this in like she did a great set, right? She's very happy with herself. Right? She's looking back at us like, oh, look at us for drawing or doing this great set. I did a wonderful job. And this is where you can bring her eyebrows up like this so that they're up. Yay! But you don't have to go, oh no. Yeah. So we'll do that. And give her a little nose to deal with here. It's not as straight as this nose because that nose was just weird. Right? Thing about manga drawing, noses and mouths are not highly, we don't emphasize them too much because you don't want them to be too emphasized, right? Take some of the chubby out of her cheeks. She's probably actually adult and not in fact a 10-year-old out here. You never know. Maybe she's a young pop idol. Miley Cyrus was when she was younger. Right? Who knows? Now she looks pretty chubby and cute. She looks adorably young. Okay, we're going to also fix some of the top of the hair here. Aww. Back to work. Well, it was good to have you here for whenever you were here, Brent. I hope you stick around somewhat, but, you know, there's that. I understand work is work, and that's the way it's got to go. I got nothing wrong with that. Bringing in all these muscle groups, right? And all these muscle groups that we're fighting here. Okay. And she's looking a whole lot better there. Yeah, but shouldn't you be sleeping every day? I'm just asking. I'm asking for a friend. Quite literally asking for a friend. Okay. So we'll do this. Bring this back around like so. Of course, that means that your October schedule means you're going to miss Geek Tank. I mean, I know that there's more of these. This is more like this. There we go. feel like I'm kind of mangling her arm here, but that's okay. We'll check the source again before I settle this in. There we go, just like this. Now, one of the things I'm thinking is her eyes are too high up. I'm going to drop them down just a hair. Like this. Right? And move this eye out. There we go. Makes all the difference in the world. Right? It's amazing how much of a difference that little change has made to this drawing. Back to what I say in every show. Sometimes it's the matter of just one drawing line. One line changes everything. Starting to look like Min-Mei a little bit. I'm just saying, but hey, you know my influences, and you know where I come from. I don't think anybody is confused about where my manga influences come from. Okay. Now looking at this from the outside view, she's looking great. Right? This is looking awesome. I'm pretty happy with this particular design. I want to do a little bit of work on her right leg, but I don't think we've got a lot to do on just the basic line work here. Looks like we're doing pretty good. I'm pretty happy with just this basic work. Shoes are not as forgiving as feet are. So, I can give her a stage. Right, all these people out here with little sticks and yay! She did great! Yeah, we got the balconies up here. Idol singer. Okay, hang on real quick. Try to pop my back. It's not gonna pop. I tried. All right. And give her a belt for her little belt thing to be stuck to. I like the belt being rakish and not being fully connected to her outfit because it looks cool that way. And then we'll give her shirt some opening down here in the bottom. Now, her body's twisted, so we want to make sure that the shirt also does something like kind of like this. much more. We're just getting in here and just kind of... We're fussing with the picture a little here. That's what we're doing. So this should fold. And since she's twisting, it's going to fold in itself like that. It's actually going to fold like that. So let's pull that out, and then we'll erase this guide. And it shouldn't actually do that. It's going to fold through like so. And then this is going to probably hang more. So come out more like this. Right? Because she is bent. Her body is bent. So we're going to get much more of... When we look at the original, the bathing suit is... The bathing suit's attached to her... Oh no, this is practice. So, this is not a commission. This is practice. There is an artist on Instagram. I think I snapped. Yep. Chabiz Calante. So, Chabiz Calante here does draw this pose. Right? So what I'm going, I love this one better than draw this in your own style, because the draw this in your own styles pieces always kind of, I feel like I'm just copying somebody else's piece, but draw this pose is great. So I can actually pull off the pose and do something else with it. So this isn't commission work at all. So don't worry. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. Okay. Right. We'll come in here and the thing about drawing is you have to, it's like any skill, we really have to keeping warm. Otherwise we lose it completely. Right? So what we're going to do here is I'm going to talk about this skirt. Skirt should do that. Right? There we go. There. This way I can keep an eye on where this body piece goes right through here. Okay, so we want to look a little bit more like this is twisted because she is looking behind her. So I'm going to make this line guide forward like that. I'm going to bring her shirt down just a little bit like this. I'm going to make it look like it's got two panels to it. A forward and a backward panel like that. And that'll help us a lot. So yeah, this is just practice, and I'm just gonna, we've got to, all of us have to keep in practice, otherwise we start to burn a little bit on that one, and it starts to look nasty, and our work starts to suffer, and so always good to practice. And I like stimulating practices, like draw this pose. That's really cool. I mean, that's just an interesting idea. Then I get to do things like, I wonder what I could possibly do with this pose. Right? You can see her backbone through here, so we want to be able to make that line there so you can see it. Put that around. Even though I know the bathing suit wasn't as strictly into this particular aspect, I feel like her shirt is going to twist back through here. There we go. Like that. Right? Now make sure I still have defined her elbow, which is right here. You've got to see her upper arm's there, and then this bone is like this, and this bone is like that. Alright, so let's make sure we've got the room for those bones through here. Underarms, the tricep as it comes along here is very sleek. Okay, so we're going to make sure we're drawing a line to this arm. This is the last little, we just dink with little things, and we start moving things around, and we start pushing and pulling and things like that. And this is where we just get the last little bit of just the little details, those little details that one line needs to be moved over, one line needs to be changed. There's going to be a lot of that when we get to the end of this here. There we go. So the other thing is, when you look across just the butt right through here, you want this line to define this point right here, right? That's what we're really after. You don't put that on your final sketch, otherwise you'll try to figure out what that is. You're going to need a line to define this fold that's starting to roll around under the glutes. Spend a lot of time looking at butts, and you're thinking about, it's kind of a strange thing to be doing in your life. Never really thought that I'd be doing that as a kid, but you never know where your life is going to lead you. And to be fair, as a teenage boy, I was looking at a lot of butts. I just wasn't analyzing them. What teenage boy isn't? So, moving this through like this to like that. Now, we have one more problem, which is that manga style has long legs, super long legs. Right. You're going to do this wrong, huh? So, we need to take her first, and we're just going to shrink her down a little, and raise her up like that, and hit OK. Okay. Then we're going to take, and we're just going to grab just the bottom half of her body, like here. We're going to take this guy, and with the control key, I'm going to pull down. Right? Manga style has super long legs, and always has. I highly recommend that if you're an artist and you do this stuff, you do not watch anything Desmond Morris says. Because then you get creeped out like I do. Now you're going to all wonder, what does Desmond Morris say? And since I've already said it, probably should just go on ahead and mention it. Desmond Morris talks about the way that when girls develop, they develop legs first, then they develop torso, and the real truth is they don't develop hips. They develop hips later, but they start by developing across the legs first. So a lot of our artwork artificially manipulates women's legs to make them look younger. It always makes them look younger. It's a instinct sign that we as humans all know. And it's actually the reason why women wear high heels, is because that raises their legs to make their legs look longer. And it's, like I said, it creeps me out when I think of it. However, it is the style. The style is the style. And it bothers me when the legs aren't right, and I already have fits with proportion. Which is why I use maquettes a lot. That's the other reason, by the way, Brent, that I'm doing this particular piece, is because I'm intentionally not doing this with a maquette. This is because I'm really worried that I will become reliant on maquettes and I won't be able to draw traditionally without a maquette. And so, in the interest of being able to do these pieces without a maquette, I'm drawing all these pieces solo, so to speak. Okay, let's also look at her arms. Don't look like they're long enough here. I also feel like her arms need to be a little bit longer. Which means, we've got the wrong tool selected. Which means another small size adjustment. Not a major one, though. Because now her arms don't look like they're proportional. So we're going to go through here. We're going to do the same thing with her arms we just did with her legs. It's a little harder because the we're going to have to go back in and correct some of this because we've now messed up the anatomy enough. Those of you that are fascinated by human beings, I do actually recommend, jokes aside, I do highly recommend Desmond Morris's The Naked Ape. He looks at humans as if we are zoological animals, and he talks about us through a zoological lens, and I love that. It was a major fascinating read. It profoundly affected how I drew, or at least how I think through the logic of my drawings, because it's easy to just try to look at a human body through the lens that we're programmed to look at it through. But it's much more fascinating to look at a human body as a product of something that needs to survive. on a savanna. And that's fascinating to me. It intrigues me greatly. So we're just going to clean up her hair here a little because we are almost done. We're almost ready to go on ahead and put her into ink. So there we go. She looks insufferably proud of what she has accomplished today. Gone out there and sang her heart out on the stage. She's very proud of herself. Very proud of herself. She's done good work. She done good work. So, let's look at her from the 10,000 foot view. Kill my drawing there. That looks awesome. Looks super dynamic. I'm liking the way it looks. I like the pose. The hair is moving. We're in good shape. Time to go on ahead and ink. So we'll add the vector layer for the inking. I'll drop the color down just a little so it's a little faded out. Let's make sure we change our pen tool, pen color, because we won't like it if we do that wrong. Okay, we're gonna head in with the G pen. Here we go. Hang on to your butts. Here we go. Okay. So, remembering my lessons that I have been teaching myself here, whenever they have to be continuous lines. So we're going to come along here like that. Alright? We're going to come along here. Right? Just like that. One continuous line as much as possible. Come down from here. Right? One continuous line. One continuous line. I have to remind myself, otherwise I'm going to do 16 continuous lines, and then I'll be really irritated when I have to come back through like that. See? That's how you mess this up, guy. Come up from here. Yeah. Okay. She's insufferably proud of herself. And she did a great set. We're just going to pretend like she did, so she has a right to be insufferably proud of herself. Right? arms. I'll just connect that later. There we go. Do you remember when we were inking earlier and I said, why do I have two lines overlapping? I'm catching it now. I'm not actually connecting these, just not thinking through like I would if I'm not thinking like a vector drawing. Which is, of course, in and of itself, part of the reason why I hate working with vector to some degree, right? Here we've run out of space, so I can't make this one line. I can't. I just simply can't. So I'm going to have to come back in and connect in here, and then come back through and give her like that. And these two are going to collide no matter which way we do it. Fascinating to me. There we go. Now we'll make this part of her hair go that way. And come back under, come back over like this. Go. And then we'll come back around like this. And then I'll take that vector eraser, and I'll boop, 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 like that. Boop. And I'll come back up here and go boop. And that'll make that all look nice and pretty. Everything should be in S-curves. S-curves are amongst the most attractive of our designs. So we should be able to boop, 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 like that. Okay, I'm just going to kill that line right there. Right? And this looks a whole lot better now by itself, already looking really good. Really solid line work. Right? Got to stop doing that. I'm going to have to come back and fix all of these lines. All right. Nope, nope. That. There we go. So I've discovered a new website called drawabox.com. And the guy who runs it is an artist. And he talks about how every art site he'd ever gone to concentrates on the fun part of art. But just like everything, there's the unfun part of art. And so, oh man, his site concentrates on the fundamentals of art. So his site's constantly working on the basics and the fundamentals. And so he does things like the 250 box challenge. You just have to draw 250 boxes. And I have to admit, I'm very attracted to this idea. I feel like a lot of this, when I do a lot of these mistakes that we're making here, they're due to a lack of fundamentals that I've never really spent a lot of time drawing, say, 250 boxes. No. So I'm intrigued. It's like exercise. Some people really enjoy exercise. Some people don't. But whether you enjoy it or not, in order to successfully exercise, you pretty much just need to sit there and do the thing over and over and over on your bike or whatever. You just have to kind of do that and just make it happen. And it's not going to get any better. Doing it the wrong way. Now, if we look at that, it looks really good. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. Now, we're just going to put in the stage and the stage lights, and I think we'll call this one good. And I'll just post this all out to Instagram. For those of you who are wondering, my Instagram is gsdavisart. You can follow me there if you want. Of course, you don't have to. I'm going to put some just indications that there's a crowd out here. This is what I feel like a 250 box challenge would do for me. I feel like this is where my skills are mediocre. And that is repetitive, constant motions. I think I'm doing great with line and shape, and my anatomy is really good and solid, and my understanding is very good. But I also feel like this is one of those places where I could use a lot of work, is in these repetitive motions, which is why, like I said, I'm attracted to the draw box. Because as much as her line work turned out really nice right off the bat, I don't have to mess with it really much, and I don't have to go in and do very much in the modification of her line. Like up here, this line works great, and it's pretty solid as it is, so I'm pretty happy with it. But let's, for the benefit of the doubt, let's go on ahead and do some adjustment of the line width. Like right through here would be nice if that was a little bit thicker, right? And then right through here. That's what I'd like to have, a thicker line. But not her skirt, which I don't want to have a thicker line, so just her leg. So we're going to go through here and scale down her skirt. Right? And we're going to go over here and scale that up a little, and scale that up a little without her skirt getting scaled up, which apparently is a thing that's happening here. We're just saying. Right? There we go. I'll tap 3 or 4 times through here. There we go. Just to give that some strength. Right there. And again, we kind of going through and just giving the bottom of her breast a little bit of weight line on that so that we can get some strength to that. Give some strength to that size. That we want to give some weight here. Right? I'm going to take this and go gunk like that. One little line could mean all the difference. Right? We're going to go back through work right here and scale up right through here. Just right through there. Give the top of her head just a little bit of help. Right through here needs a little bit of help. Like that. That gives that a lot of weight. Looks great. Scale that down right through here. Right. I'm going to give this some flow. It gives it some variety. Right through there. There we go. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to just scale that down right through here because I want this to kind of flow in and flow out. It gives her some variety, and then it gives that a little bit of a bump right through here. There we go. Just like that. There. I like that. That looks good. Nope. We went the wrong way. There we go. So we're giving a lot of variety to line and everything like that. The thing I really want to watch out for, though, is this arm, which has gotten wonky. And it's more wonky now that I've seen it this way. So let's go ahead and fix it. It's the only real line I want to fix. So we'll simplify it before we fix it, like that. And we'll simplify that to make that easier. We'll hit the control points. And the truth is, when you extend your arm up like that, it should be really sleek. She is going to have an elbow that's bumping out like this, just a little bit, but not a lot. So let's pull that back, just like that. Let's not make that so dramatic. Kill that line. Now our arm looks nice and sleek. Everything works perfectly there. I'm going to leave this open. Right there is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to leave it open. It works. But I do want to give her the back of her microphone. So at least you see that there's a microphone there. Otherwise, she's just holding something weird up there, and you don't know what she's holding. So we'll go on ahead and adjust the line width of this, and we'll scale down just the ends of this so that they disappear into nothingness. And this is just indicating that there's a ton of lights right here. So we're going to lose a lot of what's going on in this area because they're washed out by these lights that are right here. So we'll leave that open. We'll leave that open too. Okay, there we go. I'm going to tap down there a little. Scale up right here, right there, right there. Scale down. Right there. Right there. That's all we got. Perfect. Okay. Now that we've done that, make sure that there's no other major problems I want to deal with. That's a major problem I want to deal with. I can probably do that and it'll be fine. Cool. I don't have to mess with anything else. Isn't that nice? Alright. Now that we've got this, we'll do what we did before. We'll duplicate the layer, turn that off, and then we'll come in here and we'll rasterize this layer. By rasterizing it, we now solidify everything. We can come in here, and if all works well, we should be able to take this and go black there, and then black here and here, right? And this needs to be black too, but I'm missing a line, so let's put that line in right here, and then we should be able to fill that black, and it should work just fine. And then we'll give her shoes some black soles, so they're also good. And actually, I don't even know where the heck the top of her shoes are, so let's fix that real quick, because she's got apparently infinite shoes. So let's give her little boots. Like this. And then we'll just quickly erase this. We'll just quickly erase this. It is a very strange thing Clip Studio Paint has that you can't actually... There we go. She's got cute little boots, and she looks like she's dealing with the crowd just fine, and she's pretty happy with herself, and all is good. I'd love to have a shadow down here. Make her look like she's actually standing on something, right? So we're just gonna put a little shadow here. Dork, like that. And then again, just like we had done before, I'm gonna go in here real quick. Put that there, and put that there to indicate a differentiation between those two. And I feel like that's a done piece. Oh my goodness. There you go, guys. That's our piece, and I'm sticking to it. Who knows? Anyway, I'll post this up. I'm probably going to put in little things like I'd like the highlights in her eyes and stuff like that. But I'll post this up to Instagram, and you can see that. I'm going to go ahead and stamp it with my stamp, and then that'll go good. And we'll be kind of working this one. So there you go, and that's the show for today. And kind of fun. I mean, this is kind of cool. Ooh, you know what we could do? Just a couple of things. One, dealing with... There. That would be cool. You can't see upper skirt. Let's not see upper skirt, okay? So... Yeah, I won't forget to sign it. It's just that now I use those chalks to sign things, and that's a little bit more complicated. I've got to remember where I hid that. So it's kind of a waste of 2 minutes on the show to be searching through directories. So I'm going to just wait after the show, and then I'll chalk it, and it'll be good. So we'll do that, and all will be good. Oh, you know what else would work? Is if we were to dork like that. Ah, yeah, look at that. Look at that. Okay. I'm still sitting here fidgeting with it, so I'm going to fidget forever. Yeah, I know. So I'll fidget with this forever if I'm not careful. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, but I'll do that offline. It was good to have you guys with me, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Keep your eyes on the stars. Bye, guys.